What up, my friends? Welcome to Daisy's Garden. And today I'm going to talk about something that we all have to face eventually, and that is death. Death is something that we sign a mental contract when we're born that that's going to be the demise of us, is we are going to have to face the moment where we face our own death. And I wanted to make this video to discuss why it's something we shouldn't fear, why it's something that we should embrace and enjoy the time that we have here as a human. The main problem that we have when it comes to the fear of death is attachment. Attachment is such a key reason why we are afraid of death. Not only, I don't mean just materials, I mean emotionally, beliefs, and then of course material things. These are the main ones because we care so much about things and about how things make us feel and about certain standards that we have for our beliefs. And examples of materials, of course, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's just things, your phone, laptop, musical instruments, honestly, pretty much just any item, people, plants, animals, earth itself. All these things are materials that we will not really care about once we die, obviously, because we won't be aware of it anymore. Beliefs are obviously things that are deep-rooted in us that make us defensive when we get offended by it. For me, a good example to explain, because the most important thing to me is consciousness work and veganism. And of course, a lot of people don't see eye to eye about veganism, and that's 100% okay, because obviously the education for veganism isn't out there. It's something you have to seek, and it's a lifestyle. It's a big change. It's not just a diet, it's a lifestyle change. It's a big change. So, you always have to understand that people do not have the same perspective and values that you do. So what you find right, others might find wrong. And what they find right, you might find wrong. That's why I really dislike politics, because it's so divisive. And, if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're Libertarian, if you're Green Party, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter, because in the end it doesn't matter. So why should we let our humanistic experience get foggy and negative and brought down just because other people don't share a similar perspective to you? You can still respect people that don't have similar views to you. Someone that is a carnivore and that loves politics and everything that's opposite of me, I'm not going to dislike someone for that. I'm going to understand their perspective, have a discussion with them, but I won't want to argue with them, because if you argue with someone and you debate someone, it's ego fighting with ego. No one will win that. Ego fighting with ego will not get you anywhere, because if there are things you want to learn and you're trying to debate about veganism, let's say, a lot of science, and honestly, a lot of thinking backs up veganism. But people that don't have that perspective, it would be harder for them to take my word for it, because obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm not like an athlete that's super big, so people look at me and they don't think that I would know what I'm talking about, I guess. But it's about educating yourself, It's about looking things up and doing research for yourself, and that's how you're going to get a more well-rounded perspective on how you want to live life. And so that's the beliefs. And then emotionally, of course, even being happy is something that we can cling to egotistically once we realize the difference between our higher self and our ego. We have to see that difference before, because you have to experience, like I said in my last video, you have to experience all of these emotions, experience the depths of hell of your emotions to feel great. So once you can realize these differences is when you can really be happy, because you can be fake happy by just going with the flow and not really having, I don't really know, like blind optimism, I guess, where you really don't, because you have to be tested in order to truly see how strong your mindset is. So once you get tested from things in life is when you'll truly see what your mindset's like, and that's going to help shape and form it, you know. So for the past year, I've had a few big roadblocks come into my life, and they've helped form me into a better person, because every roadblock that you get over, because you'll get over every obstacle is going to help you. And it's going to, especially if you're in a state of mind where you take challenges as stepping stones, like every challenge you get is going to just build you up more and more and more. So on an emotional level, it's just about not attaching happiness to things or people, you know, which kind of ties back into like material things, but you know, emotions are just, that's what drives us to things, is the desire and the want, because it makes us happy. So if you can just be happy sitting in a dark room, just meditating and just being in the now, and that's literally it, that's when you truly can experience happiness and calmness and serenity and peace. That's truly how you'll do it, because obviously external things are going to cause an attachment. And once you break that attachment, you realize that, wow, like what is there to, what is death? Like why would it matter to die? You know, like it's one of those things where, you know, our ego is born, it progresses and it dies. Just like everything else. You know, plants do it, animals do it, things that we make, like buildings do it. Everything is built, progresses, dies. Before we were here, before buildings were here, things were. Then we come in, have our experience. When we die, things continue to be. So, we are never born. We never die. We just are. We build up perspectives and stories throughout our life, our experiences throughout this journey of this humanistic experience. We build those up, but it's nothing to get attached to, because we know, everybody knows that our demise is dying. So why attach yourself to it and make yourself fear it when it's an inevitable thing? You know, it's this weight that we would carry around all the time that would keep us from expanding consciousness and expanding our appreciation for the life we have, even if it's very minimalist. Because personally, I'm a minimalist, and I enjoy it a lot because it really breaks down attachment really physically. You can really feel and see the unattachment occur when you're giving things away and throwing things out. You know, it's great, and it takes me to a Carl Sagan quote where he talks about how we're all star stuff. So we're literally everything in the universe that had once been, you know, a star, and it exploded and cast all these elements onto Earth, and then I think it's RDA, where it's like organic complex molecules they're like the building blocks to life. I think it's RDA. And so that's, you know, kind of like where we originated from. And so to fear going back to that doesn't make sense to me as much anymore. Like, I'm not fully there with my fear of death, because you always have to go back and forth between your ego, because you have to survive. But once you can really like split your ego to your higher self, that's when you can get more of a perspective on how to get rid of that fear in your ego. And then you can live fluently with your ego, without it. just fluid throughout life in general is the main point. Because the fear of death is something that we all have to face. It's something that isn't worth our time here to worry about, because it's something we spend our entire lives being scared of, something that's going to take a fraction of a second. The process of dying and being dead takes a second. So we fear our whole lives for that like split second. And to me, that just is, to me, it's unreasonable to think like that, because it holds you back from appreciating what there is to explore and experience here. But yeah, so that's my video for today. I hope something made sense. Hopefully, maybe, watch it again, or just think about it, because it's stuff you have to ponder, because a lot of things that I talk about in these videos can't be described perfectly through language. You have to experience it yourself in order to fully grasp this. But yeah, so I hope you guys are having a great day today. And I will be back very soon for another tidbit on growing your consciousness and making your life better every day. So until then, my friends, happy trails, and don't forget those nature baths and prana breaths to keep you grounded in the present moment. See you later, guys.